In today's video, I'm going to show you 5 easy tricks to make your smartphone footage look cinematic. So before I jump into today's video, I just want to remind you guys to join my new subreddit that I created recently. You'll find a link for it in the description, and you can use it as a forum to discuss this video and anything else that goes on the channel. And with that out of the way, let's jump into number 1. So the first simple trick is to use your editing program to change the aspect ratio of your footage. So most editing programs have an option that allows you to change the letterbox, so the black bars on the top and bottom of every video. And most movies use the aspect ratio 2.35 to 1. So if you apply that letterbox filter to your footage, you'll get that more cinematic feel. So let's take a look at this clip. You can see here the shot is pretty good, but if we add that letterbox, it just looks a little bit more cinematic. Number 2. So the next trick is something that you have to do before you start recording, and that is to change your phone to record in 60 frames per second. So most smartphones have an option that allow you to shoot in either 30 or 60 FPS. I personally use 60 FPS footage because it allows you to slow the footage down to get a very cool semi-slow motion effect. By slowing down 60 FPS footage to 40% speed, your footage is now 24 FPS, which is the same frames per second that movies use. This gives you not only a cinematic frame rate, but also a really cool slow motion effect that makes your footage look smoother. If we take a look at this footage before, it looks pretty good, but it's a little fast. Now if we slow it down to 40% speed, you'll notice that the motion becomes a lot more fluid and it takes on a more cinematic flowiness. Number 3. Use filters to add emotion to your images. So most smartphones shoot with pretty good color accuracy, but they might not fit the mood that you're trying to create. For example, I went down to the National Mall on a bright spring day, so I want to add filters that emphasize the warmth of the footage. So if you take a look at this footage without a filter, you'll notice that it has pretty good colors, but it doesn't look very cinematic. Now if we add this slight filter, it's just a small adjustment, but you can see that it makes everything look a little bit warmer. And to me that emphasizes that we're in springtime. So for example, if you were to shoot at like an industrial complex when it's cloudy out, you might want to emphasize the grays, turn the saturation down, and that sort of thing. Most video editing programs have pre-made filters that you can apply. I, for example, use the Desert Glare filter in Final Cut Pro 10 and turn the amount down because oftentimes I find them a bit overwhelming, so you turn it down a little bit and it looks very good. Number 4. Use extreme angles for dramatic effect. When shooting with a smartphone, it's very tempting to just point your phone at the action and get it all on film. However, what often makes footage look a lot more dynamic is playing with extreme angles. So take a look at this footage that I shot. You'll notice that the tree branches create extreme angles, the camera is rotating and active, and it creates an interesting visual effect. Whenever you're trying to look cinematic, do not be afraid of the angle. Number 5. Finally, once you have all of these other effects added up together, you've got a very nice foundation for a cinematic sequence. But the thing that really ties it all together isn't something that's visual, it's what you hear. Picking audio that matches your visuals is very, very important. You wouldn't want to put some happy spring footage with some dark, heavy metal. Now this is very subjective and it depends on what mood you're trying to go for. So for example, the footage that I shot was on a spring day. I used warm filters and slow motion, so I want to look for something that will match that vibe. So to end this video, take a look at a compilation that I made of the footage that I shot with a song that I felt fit the mood.